listening to CinemaJaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location from CinemaJaw Studios in Chicago. My name is Matt Kay, and with me is...
Rye, the movie guy, and right to my left is KP.
Hello.
This week on CinemaJaw, Matt, we go best worst again.
It's fun to do sometimes.
It is. We got three great categories. Best worst Ryan Reynolds movies.
Yeah, lots to choose from.
Right. Best worst multiverse movies.
Lots to choose from.
And best worst swimming movies.
Not as many to choose from.
That was a little trickier to come up with.
It sure was. Yeah. How do you define swimming?
Well,
swimming movies.
I would have been okay also with diving, and maybe you went
I did not.
into that way.
I think I stayed pure. I don't remember exactly what I picked, but
Is this scenes or movies?
Movies.
I think that's the other thing, too.
Movies.
I feel like swimming deserves its own top 5 because it's such a niche.
Esoteric.
Yeah. Maybe we'll revisit that
Right.
one day.
We will start. The tie-in here, Ryan Reynolds, obviously in Deadpool and Wolverine. That's our main review this week. The swimming comes from a movie on Disney Plus called Young Woman and the Sea. And then Multiverse also ties into Deadpool and Wolverine.
I thought it was all pool related.
No.
You should have stuck.
Oh,
it's
well
because
done,
they're talking about
KP.
pools.
I do
then
like that.
The best one, like the worst ones are where they survive. The best ones are where they're dead
Yes.
in the pool.
Pool movies.
Pool movies.
Yeah.
We could have done that, Ryan.
We
It's
did
a
do
missed
pool
opportunity.
scenes. We did pool scenes
Did
one
we?
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think you
that's
had
right.
eighth grade
Eighth
number
grade
one.
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of good pool. Anyway,
I had Booksmart on there, I remember, which was another great pool scene.
it is a great
And then
pool
obviously
scene.
Caddyshack. There's some
Yeah.
great pool scenes.
Yeah. Hopefully, you know what? Let's stop talking about pool scenes.
Because we might ruin
We
one of
might.
our best worst. So we got best worst. We got 2 reviews. No guests this week, so we are playing Stump the Kubinski. And in honor of Young Woman and the Sea, we're playing Sea movie trivia.
Did we already say Deadpool?
And Deadpool and Wolverine. We've talked about it.
All
We're
right, all
reviewing it.
It bears repeating.
Yes, it's a big movie, and you're very excited about this.
It's the biggest movie of the summer. Maybe the year so far.
It's going to be huge. We're recording this obviously before the opening weekend, but I saw it's projected to make just an absolute ton at the box office.
Good.
People are excited for this one.
Good. We needed it. We really needed this.
A lot of fun.
Furiosa was a dud.
Plus, it is our last week celebrating Hugh Jackman. And he goes out on a high note because we'll be able to talk about his performance as Wolverine one more time here.
Yeah.
But we do kick it off with a Hugh Jackman fact.
Absolutely. And this is a huge Jackman fact, to repeat a pun from the very beginning of the month. Some would say it's the greatest fact of his showmanship for that film, The Greatest Showman. Hugh Jackman had to read, I shouldn't say had to, chose to read 3 dozen, right? If I'm doing this math right, that's 36 books on P.T. Barnum to prepare for the title of the role. One, I don't know how many historians out there. This is like, during What's His Nuts month, Alien Guy, Ghostbusters, Matt, help me out here.
Oh,
Aykroyd.
Yeah.
During Dan Aykroyd month, we're talking
I was going
about
to say Ray Stantz.
there's some really weird historians in the world that there are 36 different books about who was objectively kind of a scumbag. Great.
It's arguable.
P.T. Barnum, well, I'm not even going to unpack this. He read 36 books for this. Another cool fact about the film is that a lot of the costumes used in the opening scene of that were actually borrowed from the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, their parent company, Feld Entertainment, and they were used in productions of The Greatest Show on Earth, too.
That I like. I like when they actually are using the real stuff
He's
in the
authentic.
movies, you know?
It's real method. Like, not only did he read these 36 books, he wore the man's clothes.
Wasn't Jackman a producer on that too?
Throw it in the fish tank. We will double check that because I'm not positive, but my guess would be yes, he was.
Yeah.
If I had to take a stab at it.
Spending all that sweet Les Mis money.
Were you ever at the circus growing up?
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah. I ate the circus peanuts and watched them abuse animals before it was uncouth.
And you just said the man's not a scumbag. You
Listen,
defended this man.
We didn't know then, KP. Now we know better. I mean, Blackfish came out and changed the world.
It was still neat to see somebody stick their head in a lion's mouth.
Yeah, it was.
That thrill doesn't go away.
Gunther Gable Williams. Do you remember that name?
No.
He was on the front of the program. He was like the world's greatest lion tamer at the time, anyway. And he was retiring, so they gave him this big send off, and he was the star of the show. Gunther Gable Williams.
Really interesting.
Look it up.
I have very small recollection of going to the circus. It's one of those, like, I was too young to remember it, but it probably made such an impression. It's one of those that I remember from a very young age. I remember getting like a spark gun. Those spark guns at the circus. And I can remember, like, just the excitement of the animals and everything. It was like, I think a little too much for my kid brain at the time.
Somewhat overwhelming.
Yeah.
So my dad was like a madman, and he always got the hookups, and we went and had dinner with the clowns before the show.
I love that. The Clownbinskis.
I have pictures.
Kubinskis.
KP, if you throw this in the notes right now, I will try my damnedest to get the photo to throw in the show notes.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
You with the clowns?
Me with the clowns and my buddy Jeremy.
That's awesome.
We were like 8, 10 years old, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Nice.
Yeah. The height of the 80s.
This is the most interesting. I'm sorry, Hugh, but this is like...
I know.
Well, it turns out I'm the greatest showman.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm the best there is at what I do. What I do best isn't very nice.
It's true.
That's a good lead-in to our big review, Matt. You have to be excited. You wrote this one, my friend.
I did. Here we go. Ready?
Deadpool and Wolverine.
And let this be known ahead of time. We discussed this before we hit record. This will be a spoiler-free review. We will get into spoilers in what we call the spoiler lounge. It has been a minute since we've done a spoiler lounge.
Yes.
We're going to do this on our Patreon, and you can get on board for as little as $1. And this one might be worth listening to because there are a lot of spoilers. There's a minor spoiler in my review. It's really just about an Easter egg in the background, a store name. So if you're that crazy, you've been warned. Let's call it how it is, Ryan. This summer has been dreadful. Inside Out 2 was a letdown, as was Furiosa, at least at the box office, okay? Unarguable there. And even the indie gems have been few and far between. Sequels and remakes as far as the eye can see, and here comes one more. A threequel, if you will. But at least the Deadpool series is self-aware enough to never insult our intelligence on that matter. But knowing what you are and being a good movie are two different things. Can a third outing, fourth if you count X-Men Origins with the Merc with a mouth, be another superhero deconstructionist romp? Or is it also ran garbage in spandex? Ryan and I lubed up to slip into this leather outfit.
I know I turn everything into a joke, but I care. I want to use that for something important. I waited a long time for this team up. In my world, you're well regarded. You were an X-Man. Fuck that, you were the X-Man. The Wolverine. He's a hero in my world.
Yeah, well, he ain't shit in mine.
Here I am to put all the naysayers to rest. Deadpool and Wolverine is the movie event of the summer. Unless Alien surprises me, I think it's unlikely to be topped. Now I know what you're asking yourself. What is Hugh Jackman even doing in this besides cashing a fat Disney check? Hasn't he done everything there was to do with this character? No, he hadn't. Enough said. Or you were thinking this, how can they make another movie with Jackman's Wolverine after Logan, which was such a perfect ending for the character? Without spoiling anything, I can tell you that question is addressed in the opening sequence before the credits, and boy, is it a doozy. Here's the plot in a nutshell. Deadpool has hung up his tights, but when an existential threat pops up to destroy his world, he finds himself on a multiversal hopping adventure that sees him teaming up with a Wolverine variant, who happens to be the worst Wolverine. The two enjoy some cameos, fourth wall breaks, and stop a common enemy who is hell-bent on destroying the multiverse. The action in this movie, top notch. Although, there is some very sketchy CGI at certain points. We'll get back to that. The fan service is pure, and that makes the CGI largely forgivable. There are Easter eggs upon Easter eggs, and my favorite, this is the light spoiler, is a store in the background named Liefield's Just Feet. If you know, you know.
I don't know.
Yeah, KP might not even know. Wow. We'll get to that.
No idea.
There's one fight scene in particular that takes place inside of a Toyota that is on par with the best I have ever seen. The dual leads here, fantastic. Hugh Jackman reminds us exactly how he earned his status as a star, and Ryan Reynolds is just as annoying as he is supposed to be. The jokes are nonstop, and I found myself laughing out loud more than at any other movie in a long time. This is funny AF. Also, I want to highlight Emma Corrin as Cassandra Nova. Villains in Marvel films have been hit or miss, to be generous.
She was excellent.
Yeah, I found her fascinating. More, please. Flaws? Yeah, plenty. You can feel Disney on this. And even though Deadpool addresses that head on, you can still just feel it, and it's icky. I mentioned the bad CG, and it's fairly egregious at one point when they're jumping out of a bus. You'll see it, and you'll be like, ugh. But flaws aside, this is the best we've had in summer of 2024, and one of the best Marvel movies in a darn long time. I loved it. Can't wait to see it again. What did you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I got to go and say it right at the top. Deadpool goes 3 for 3 with me, which is shocking because I don't like many superheroes franchise this many in a row outside of like the Batman or the Guardians of the Galaxy have done really well. And then I would put this up there. I really liked Deadpool 1, 2, and this third one.
Did you rewatch them in preparation?
I didn't. Okay. No. So I was really pleased with that, and I'm sure I even wrote it in my notes here. There had to be tons of comic book stuff for the nerds that completely went over my head because I could hear people like giggling, laughing, such as that, and I had no idea what people were giggling and laughing at. But that's fine because there's enough here to enjoy. The insults and the jokes come at you at a super clip. I mean, everything's a laugh. It's a laugh a minute the whole time. So it's like I'm wanting to remember some of the great moments, and it's tough because 2 minutes later you're just laughing even harder than the previous joke, and so on and so forth. So I was enjoying it from start to finish all the way through. Those worried about Deadpool cleaning up his act for Disney, I didn't feel that there was that much cleanup at all. I mean, especially at the end, they really throw in some F-bombs. Like, I can't believe this is going to be on Disney Plus.
Well, the other two Deadpools are on Disney
I know,
Plus.
but I mean, I'm just like, wow, it's pretty risque. I'm pretty shocked. And yes, the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman is fantastic. It's the reason to see this movie. I mean, I think it goes in with like a lot of hype, and it's one of those instances where it lived up to the hype. I think we knew most people, like my cousin was with me, and my cousin said, I was expecting it to be pretty good. I think we all were going in because I think the chemistry between those two was going to be good.
Yeah.
The Deadpool movies in general have been pretty solid, and we're going to see this old Wolverine that all these comic book nerds are super excited about seeing. Of course it's going to be a winner, right?
It was not Old Man Logan.
Well, whatever. I don't know what, Old Man Logan, but it was, in his yellow outfit that Deadpool makes fun of in the movie, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And so that's where I want to start. I like that he breaks the fourth wall and makes fun of himself and Disney and Marvel, a constant. So that way, when you do get those fan service moments, I like that he calls it out that this is for the fans.
Yeah.
Good on them, because sometimes I feel like those moments where you go into like the super slow-mo shot or like the Avengers when they're all standing there and everybody's all excited because it's the big moment that looks like a drawing out of a comic book. I never could get behind those because I'm not a comic book fan. So I enjoy that he's just calls it out like, all right, this is fan service right now for the next few minutes. Everybody in the theater, get your sock ready. We're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
That's great because it's a joke at the same time.
That's, I think, one of the things that made Deadpool such a great character in the comics, and it has carried through in the film. And I got to give credit to Ryan Reynolds. He has been an excellent steward of this character. He really is Deadpool at this point, where to the point where I don't know where Reynolds ends and Deadpool begins. And that's a compliment. Mm-hmm. That's probably the biggest compliment I could pay Ryan Reynolds.
Right. I actually thought if someone goes into this movie being annoyed by Ryan Reynolds, they're really going to hate this movie because he does such a good job at being the annoying Deadpool guy.
Yeah. Deadpool is kind of annoying. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's his shtick. He's perfect.
So we can talk then about Cassandra Nova. This is not a spoiler? You've already mentioned her, so
I didn't mention who she is exactly.
Okay.
So if you're not a comic book nerd, you're not going to know.
okay. So we'll just call her Cassandra Nova.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to spoil anything. I got to dance around this because I don't know what I'm spoiling sometimes. So, yeah, she's played by Emma Corrin, who is
Right.
excellent in this.
Yeah.
And what a powerful character, too. It's been a while since I felt, some dread from a villain that could just more or less annihilate people. And she had it in spades. I was like, yeah, they got to use this character a lot more.
And the special effect that they use for her power is really creepy.
So
almost to a horror level.
Let's talk about that. She has the ability to get into your body in a way.
Right, or your mind.
Your mind.
But they physically show it
Right.
with her hand, and it may be actually happening, or it may be like a hallucination. Her hand passing through the skull of the person
Right.
whose mind she's controlling.
I thought visually it looked fantastic because she could like rub the brain and you could see her hand like inside the skull sometimes. And then other times
the fingers are poking out the eyeballs.
or like grabbing the nostrils. And it was just gross looking, off-putting. I think off-putting is a good way to put it.
Now that was some good CG.
That was really neat.
Way, way better than some of the wonky Wolverine stuff we see later.
For sure.
What were they doing there? You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about, right?
yeah.
Yeah. What was that?
I don't know. I mean, that's how a lot of the Marvel movies have looked a little bit.
I don't know, man. That was their money shot. and-
Everybody was down on Guardians of the Galaxy 3 CGI. So, I don't know.
Listen, CG's got to be bad for me to call it out.
Sure.
So
A lot of cameos in this, which we're going to get to in spoiler territory. But for the most part, these worked for me. Where in some of these multiverse, we get some heroes. It's like, oh, what is this? And we might talk about Doctor Strange 2 when we're talking about best worst multiverse movies. And that was one where I just was like, it didn't feel very inspired by who was in there and where they could have went. This one, I enjoyed all of them. And maybe it's because I knew so little or had any guess of who was going to appear in this one.
are you going to poop on Multiverse of Madness in your best worst?
Yeah, that's right.
You son of a bitch. That's Sam Raimi.
Well, we'll get to
All
it.
right, we'll get to that. We're talking about Deadpool.
We're talking about Deadpool.
Okay.
But I thought the cameos in Deadpool were great. How about you?
Yes, the cameos in Deadpool will make you smile ear to ear. There was a couple I was hoping for that I didn't get, but I mean, they can never please everybody. But there was one big one that I thought we were going to get maybe in a stinger. Mm-hmm. It just didn't happen. And that's what I'm talking about. You can feel Disney like, is that a scheduling thing? Yada, yada. Anyway, these are really minor gripes. The cameos were amazing, especially like the core cameo that happens in the third act. Very well done.
Very well done. I also wanted to say the opening sequences have always been really good in Deadpool. The first one, when we met Deadpool, was great with the credits and so on and so forth. They had fun with it. This one, I think, takes the cake because, as you mentioned, he goes to visit, old Logan.
He goes to visit Logan. Listen. This was the thing that was on everyone's mind. I'm pretty sure KP even asked, like, how are they going to do this after Logan?
It might have been me.
It might have been you. And I heard two critics were sitting next to me. It was Roper and his buddy. Mm-hmm. And his buddy leaned over to Roper and been like, well, Logan was such a perfect end for the character. I don't know why he's doing this. Boy, do they tackle that.
Right off the bat.
I mean, seriously, the movie doesn't even start until they tackle that.
Yep.
And they did it right.
I thought they did wonderful.
That scene is balls out crazy. It's just crazy what happens in that scene. I loved it. Cannot wait to see it again.
Yeah, I think it really set the tone for the movie right from the beginning. It was like, oh my God, all right, I'm in. I was laughing hysterically. The opening scene was so well done, creative. I thought the rest of the movie is going to be fine at that point.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's talk about how damn good Hugh Jackman looks for his age. I mean, my God, he's still pulling off Wolverine easily. And he's been doing this for 20 years.
25 years.
The ending sequence sees him with his shirt off.
I do wonder if that was CG.
It had to be some. There had to be some. Nobody could look that good. I mean, this guy is still in phenomenal shape.
He's a jacked man. But it's true.
And huge.
He is a huge jacked man.
He pulls it off, though, man.
Listen, if that was CG or not, you need a base to start from. He's got the shape, he's got the base, and he's done it before. My hat is off.
So now for my complaint. And
go ahead.
Unfortunately, it is actually with the plot line, the narrative as a whole, which has to do with this multiverse. And the key point here is that one person's timeline can get wiped out. Right?
Right. You didn't see Loki.
No.
Okay.
So I don't know. Yeah. Oh, so is that whole control room of these people that are
Yeah.
watching the timelines?
Yeah.
That takes place in Loki?
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe people know what this is.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. So I was completely lost by this control room.
Which is funny because at one point Deadpool references the exact episode.
He does. But I didn't know that, obviously not seeing it, I didn't know that this had already been in Marvel canon, if you will. So I was confused by the really...
The TVA?
Yes. Pretty much the whole major plot line in the movie. And like at the end, when Cassandra Nova, like what exactly is her motive to kill off all of the timelines?
So she could be a god in the void. And
I was a little lost by that. Like, is
That's
that
her
her motive?
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. I didn't like that. I mean, I thought it still looked spectacular and I was along for the ride, but I was like confused on like the motives of the characters at that point. Obviously, I know that Wolverine wants to stay alive and they're trying to, keep Cassandra from not fulfilling her goal, but
does he want to stay alive?
I'm just saying. I was confused. I thought it wasn't that clear to me for not watching Loki. For sure, I was confused.
Yeah, that's fair. I think anytime you mess with time travel and multiverses and like different like universes that people can hop between, it's a lot. And I think the whole thing is just enjoy the ride. And they did it really well here. You would be well served if you have seen Loki. That'll at least fill you in on what this whole TVA thing is. And I mean, dude, come on, it's got Luke Wilson.
That's fine. I'm never going to watch Loki.
Wow.
Just out.
Isn't Wow Owen?
Yeah,
What a
it's Owen.
reference.
It's Owen, not Luke. My bad. It is Owen. I get the Wilsons confused.
Sure. But overall, big fan of this one. Enjoyed it. Writing was great. So I got nothing bad to say other than I was confused by the motivations of Cassandra Nova.
And I think that's fair. Very fair.
As for, did you have a that would never happen moment? I didn't write one down.
No, I didn't come up with a that would never happen because let's be honest, it's a Marvel movie. None of it would ever happen.
Jaw-dropping moment?
Yeah. The car fight scene. Wow.
That was a blast.
And there is a bus sequence later in the film. I was also like, wow. Best thing to happen in a bus since Nobody.
I actually did write down both those. The car scene was fantastic. And that's just Deadpool and Wolverine going at it.
Yeah.
When I say going at it, I mean going to blows.
Take that as you will.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a double entendre there,
Yes.
isn't there?
But it's a pretty hilarious and gruesome scene, all wrapped up in one.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, Wolverine and Deadpool fighting all these others. Again, can I go into spoilers there, or I shouldn't say who they're fighting on the bus?
Oh, yeah, no.
Don't say
I mean,
that.
I wouldn't.
Okay, we'll wait till the spoiler lounge on that. Also, there is a scene that sees a character get his skin ripped off his body.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It shocked me. It was hilarious. It's one of those kind of moments where it's like, whoa, wait, what just happened? And then you realize that the skin just came off this character just for that second. Great beat. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
And then the effect on that, I thought, looked really well. I mean, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, we even get a blink.
It's really good.
It was. Well done.
Yes. And then lastly, we're getting a lot of these multiverse movies, and I loved when Deadpool just flat out called out the multiverse and that we're getting tired of it. This is a dumb trope kind of deal.
Yeah.
And he
They've
really
been miss after miss.
He just lays into the multiverse. And as I'm sitting there, I was just agreeing with him. And obviously we're in a multiverse movie, but he can still make fun of himself.
All right. Should we do movie poster quotes?
Yes.
Go ahead. You first.
I went with Marvel Jesus to the rescue.
Marvel Jesus to the rescue. I went with Deadpool and Wolverine is Marvel in its best universe.
How many Jaws, Matt K?
Four Jaws.
Wow,
I am
Four Jaws.
I am starved for a Four Jaw movie this year, and here it is at last, at long last. It is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Hey, I went high marks here too. I went 3.5 Jaws for Deadpool and Wolverine. So obviously, me and Matt both liked it. Before we get to our Ryan Reynolds movies, I forgot I had asked my cousin Andrew, who came with me, to give us a movie poster quote.
Oh,
So let's get an extra movie poster quote. I asked Andrew, shoot me a movie poster quote, and he went with this. Deadpool and Wolverine isn't MCU's savior, but it's a fucking blast. And he threw the F-bomb in for Deadpool.
yeah. Why wouldn't you?
I mean,
And Andrew's your cousin, we should mention.
yes.
Yeah.
Cousin Andrew.
Cousin Andrew. Well done, sir.
Yes, good stuff. Now let's talk some Ryan Reynolds. Best, worst. Let's start with the worst.
This is easy. It's not even a contest. The worst Ryan Reynolds movie is Green Lantern. Nearly derailed his career. And that's saying a lot because this guy's made some real stinkers. I feel like he's picked up his game quite a bit since then, but nearly ruined him, didn't it? There you go. Green Lantern was his big break. He was at the helm of a big superhero movie.
What I remember
Sucked.
so much about that was it was early days of C2E2, and we had that as like one of the poll questions, like what you're most excited to see. And like Green Lantern was like going toe to toe with, I forget what other movies we had on there, but people were pumped to see Green Lantern. And wow, how unmemorable it is.
Indeed. Was that not even pre-MCU?
No,
I think it was.
no, MCU was already going.
Maybe just
It might have
barely.
been around like at latest Iron Man 2, though.
Throw it in the fish tank. When did
Green Lantern come out. I want
Yeah.
to say it was like real early days.
it was early days, but MCU was
before
already
we
going.
met KP.
Oh, for sure, before we met KP. But we were already doing CinemaJaw, so I would say it was like 2011. That would be my
I
guess.
would say 2009, maybe 2010.
No, we started in 2009.
I know. We went to C2E2 that summer.
But it wasn't that one. I'd say it's 2010 or 2011.
Okay.
But I also went with a stinker, and I had Green Lantern listed, and I thought that's got to be Matt's pick on this one.
Well done.
But I also really disliked The Proposal with Sandra Bullock, and
Yeah, you really did.
this is when Ryan Reynolds, I don't think, was necessarily finding his groove yet. So he could have been like the rom-com guy.
He was not yet self-aware.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was like, oh, we're putting him in with a Sandra Bullock, vehicle. This is terrible. The idea here is that she's a Canadian and she's about to get deported, and she has to marry somebody. Hence the Proposal.
Yeah, and he's her like executive assistant.
Yeah, he's the assistant, and of course they
True
ended up
love.
do fall in love.
Yeah.
Just a hot pile.
I wouldn't say it's that bad.
No, I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes. It is in the 40% range, so it's not like god awful, but it's not one of my favorites by any means.
Most people, like, you either like rom-coms or you hate them. Yeah. And
I
I'm
know-
in the like them
I
category.
know people out there love Sandy,
I know you don't love Sandy.
and I don't like her. So there's going to be some people listening to this that'll be like, give it another chance. The Proposal's good. I cry every time.
You've come around on Sandy, and I am not here to defend the proposal. Let's go ahead,
I kind
KP.
of like the
I
proposal.
know.
Right, thank you.
I kind of like the proposal.
It's garbage.
It's not garbage. It's
All right.
one of the better
It's
crappy
cute.
rom-coms. Yeah.
Let's go with the best Ryan Reynolds. What do you got, Matt?
Deadpool. I'm just ripping that Band-Aid right off. It's freaking Deadpool. I mean, the thing about Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds is he championed this movie. He started it with a short film, test footage of him jumping off the bridge into the bad guy's car and they have the fight. He just made that with his own money. Can we throw that in the fish tank? Like, confirm if that's not apocryphal. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. And so we have Ryan Reynolds to thank, and he is Marvel Jesus. I'm calling it right now. I mean, like, Marvel needed this shot in the arm. Big
For
time.
sure.
So there you go. Ryan Reynolds. Marvel Jesus.
I went with a hidden gem of his that I've championed many a times. I was just at my cousin's lake house having a nice soiree, and I was mentioning movies, and people kept writing this one down as I talked about it because they're big gamblers, and if you're a gambler, you got to have a soft spot for Mississippi Grind.
I don't know this one.
And this is Ryan Reynolds and Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh, I
And-
like me some Mendelsohn.
Yeah, and the idea is that these are newly found friends, and Ryan Reynolds is a good luck charm, and Ben Mendelsohn is a gambling addict, and they basically are going down the entire Mississippi, stopping at all those kind of like gambling towns along the way and betting and drinking a lot of Woodford whiskey. So every time they go into a new casino, they order up 2 Woodfords because they got their way to go, and they start gambling and they can't lose. It's one of these deals, and they keep going down the Mississippi until they make it down to New Orleans. Hilarious. You would love this movie. Anybody who likes gambling in any ways and likes like small town road trip movies, this ties all that in as well as they're going down the Mississippi.
Wow. I was really convinced you were going to say Detective Pikachu.
No, have never seen it. Mississippi Grind. Do check that one out. Came out in 2015, so it's not that old.
I mean, that's pretty old, Ryan.
9 years.
It's almost a decade old.
9 years.
Yeah.
But
It's not new.
Multiverse also ties in this one. We're doing best, worst multiverse.
Oh, we're going toe to toe here?
Yes.
Back to back?
So what do you have for worst multiverse?
I went with Ant-Man 3, Quantumania. What a mess. MODOK aside, I did kind of enjoy MODOK. This movie sucks balls. You want to talk about bad CG? I don't even know what they were thinking. It was right around the time, the fall of grace of Jonathan Majors, and he was being set up as the big bad, the new Marvel big bad. He was kind of good in it, but man, the movie's just a freaking mess. It's a total train wreck of a movie. Sucked hard. Boo.
So I had 2 written down. One was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
This pick, why?
Well, I mean, it's tough to pick some bad ones sometimes. So I'm like looking through and I'm like, well, I like that one a little bit more than this one, and so on and so forth. Not that I hated it, and I didn't land on that pick. I did have it written down. I went with not a comic book movie. I went back in 1998. Gwyneth Paltrow made a multiverse movie called Sliding Doors.
Never even heard of it.
Here's the premise. She is a London ad executive who is on her way home, and she goes to the train, and in one multiverse, she catches the train. She just makes the door, and because she makes that train, she gets home and finds out that her husband's cheating on her, comes in and catches him in the act. Mm-hmm. In the other one, she misses the train, and then the movie does a split throughout the whole entire thing. So then
the whole movie's a split?
Yeah, the whole movie from there on in. So then you're seeing what would have happened if she didn't catch that door, and she wouldn't have caught her husband cheating. She would have stayed in the relationship, so on and so forth. And its premise sounds probably more interesting as I'm describing it, because even now as I'm saying this, it sounds like, hey, that sounds like it could be pretty good.
But it would also be annoying to watch 2 movies at the same time.
Also, it is. And it was like a clever idea that I don't think was
executed
that well. They could have done something a little bit more creative with the idea of quote unquote sliding doors, you know?
Yeah, it does sound interesting, actually.
So that was my pick for the worst.
Kind of sold me on it, but all right, what's your best?
So my best, I mean, how can't you pick Everything, Everywhere, All at Once?
There's 2 that you could have picked, and I decided to not pick either of them.
Okay, well,
Let's talk about Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Okay, no movie does it as well as that, as far as seeing all the different universes, as creative as they are.
There's definitely one you can make an argument for, Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse.
And that's what I also have, Across the Spiderverse. However, you don't see as many universes. They all come into Miles's world.
Oh, potato.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, because the other one, you get to sort of have these like ridiculous moments with Michelle Yeoh, you know, doing the wildest stuff.
Yeah, hot dog fingers.
Hot dog fingers, the crazy
Rock
chef,
universe.
all the kind of wild stuff.
Oh,
so
for sure.
I liked seeing the actual different universes, but those are the 2 I think that are way above anybody else with the multiverse. It's either Spider-Verse or Everything Everywhere All at Once. Those are the only 2 right picks here, Matt.
I went with, and I'm not disagreeing with that. Those are the 2 I have written down as those are the best ones. But if you have to pick one that's not obvious, Ryan, and give the Jawhead something to actually chew on, I'm going with Spider-Man No Way Home. Talk about fan service. You get Garfield, Maguire, and Holland, all as the Spider-Man. What a great movie that was. We all loved it.
You are leaving out a glaring omission of fan service in this film. Yes, somebody we love who comes back.
Oh, do tell.
The Green Goblin,
Oh,
Willem
for
Dafoe
sure.
himself, you fool. He is something of a scientist himself, which he does say in the film.
Hey, Alfred Molina, too. And
Go fuck yourself.
thanks, Wolverine. Jeez.
That's what you get.
That is what I get.
It was a lot of fun, and that really brought the audiences back after COVID, too.
And I would say After Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, it is the best live-action multiverse movie. It's probably true.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'll take a maybe from Ride the Movie Guy.
Jawheads, if we missed your favorite multiverse movie and you have Twitter pulled up, shoot us a tweet at CinemaJaw or email feedback@cinemajaw.com. We're taking a quick break here. When we come back, we have a review of Young Woman in the Sea. We're going to talk some swimming movies and play some trivia.
We're getting out of the pool and into the sea.
Be right back.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Each month, when our team picks clips, whoever is introducing it is the one who has the personal attachment to it and the one who selected it to highlight. At the very beginning of Hugh Jackman month, I told Matt Kay one thing, that I have dibs on one very specific clip. This is from the original X-Men movie 24 years ago when Logan, aka Wolverine, first meets Rogue. Jackman's stoic portrayal brings warmth and nurturing to the hitchhiking Rogue, and I love it. Not to mention, at the end of this clip, Hugh delivers the greatest line of his entire career.
KP, when you see this clip, does it make you smile?
Every time.
You don't have anything to eat, do you? I'm Rogue. Were you in the army? Doesn't that mean you were in the army? Wow.
What?
Suddenly, my life doesn't look that bad.
Hey, if you prefer
No,
the road.
no. It looks great. It looks cozy.
Put your hands on the heater. I'm not gonna hurt you, kid.
It's nothing personal. It's just that when people touch my skin, something happens.
What?
I don't know. They just get hurt.
Fair enough.
When they come out, does it hurt?
Every time.
Sparkling drinks and all colored dandy, 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 dandy.
And we continue on here on CinemaJaw. Before we get to Young Woman and the Sea and play some trivia, we threw a few items into the fish tank. KP, are you there?
Wait a moment! It's fish! Isn't it?
DC! Wake up! No, Pat, it's a giant glass bowl. Hey, get some fish folk.
Who's coming with me besides Flipper? Here.
That's a Sicilian message. It means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hello, thank you so much for letting me out this week. I gotta say, Jawheads, if there's ever a week, if you want some spicy content, definitely sign up for our Patreon. I actually stepped away because I wasn't at the screening for Wolverine and Deadpool.
Left the room.
I haven't even heard this. So you guys are getting the fat skinny that only Matt and Ryan know about.
Hoo-hoo. And you will when you edit. Oh, you're not editing that.
I put notes in to skip it because I'll have to edit this before I see it even.
There you go.
So this is spicy stuff, guys.
The temptation.
For a buck. Now, with that plug out of the way, I'm going to plug 3 more things, and they are our questions this week that we threw in. The first one, was Hugh Jackman a producer for The Greatest Showman? He did not. He had no production credits involved in this. And there were 3 other producers. Lawrence Mark, Julie and Julia, iRobot, Jerry Maguire, Peter Chernin, most known for producing the Fear Street series on Netflix that Ryan's a fan of. And then Jenno Topping, Oscar-winning producer for Ford v Ferrari. Hugh omitted from that list.
Wow.
Okay. I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah. He seemed like he was very much involved.
A champion.
36 books.
Right.
36.
That's a lot of books.
I hope they paid him to do that, at least. When did the Green Lantern come out? And more specifically, is it post-MCU? Ryan, you were saying 2010, I think, right?
Right. I said 2010 or 11 would have been my it's one of those 2 years.
I think it's before then.
Is this just like...
It might have even been as early as like 2005.
2010.
It was 2011.
2011.
Post MCU. By the time this specific film came out, we had Iron Man, the Edward Norton Hulk, Iron Man 2, and Thor even. Before Thor was good.
It was getting going. The MCU was getting going.
Right.
Interesting.
And only one of those was good.
Yeah. Well, arguably the Ed Norton Hulk is okay.
I'm kind of an Ed Norton Hulk apologist, if I'm being honest. I don't know if that makes sense.
He's no Mark Ruffalo, but
but that's why. We digress.
Great Hulk joke in Deadpool with the Hulk gloves.
Yeah.
Hulk hands make an appearance.
Yeah.
They talked about it, at least.
What a great toy. What a great thing to happen to us as children.
Just wait. Ryan Reynolds will ruin it for you. or make it
them better.
Yeah.
For all we know. And then the last one, did Ryan Reynolds self-produce any of the original Deadpool test footage that had been leaked? Listen, this was my entire half of the show. First, I was looking this up because there is so much lore about what's going on with this leaked test footage and how deep into development. I did not realize just how long it had taken them to make this film come to life. They had been talking about this, Ryan Reynolds specifically, since 2004. I guess I didn't even know who Ryan Reynolds was in 2004.
He was making the proposal.
Yeah, he was Van Wilder. I mean, I knew who he was.
The proposal, Van Wilder makes sense. The proposal was before 2004. That can't be right.
No, I'm kidding. But I mean, it was. I wrote it down there. It's early aughts.
But like, I guess there was a throwaway line in one of the Deadpool comics where Deadpool said, like, I'm sort of like Ryan Reynolds mixed with somebody else. And Ryan Reynolds was like, man, I got to play this. And that was before even the horrible X-Men Origins one. And then because the X-Men Origins one was so weird, they were like, and then Green Lantern actually hurt that.
Oh, for sure. Like I said, it almost ruined his career.
Yeah. And him working as hard as he did to get the Deadpool stuff going was like, Fox was looking at the Green Lantern stuff and like, we don't know.
Yeah.
This guy? You?
And then the footage leaked and the internet went crazy.
And as far as I can tell, Fox actually did fund and produce that leaked content. Nobody knows who leaked it yet. There's been like talks about it being Ryan or Tim Miller. There was even a fan theory I had glanced over, which I think is cheeky and cute, that Deadpool and Wolverine, this was written months ago before the film actually came out, but that the original leaker would be revealed in this film as like a call out and a nod.
And maybe it was, and I just totally missed that.
I was outside of this. This would have been spoiler lounge content. But yeah, no. As far as I can tell, no. Despite Ryan, I mean, the dude's been involved. The leaked footage was in 2014, and Ryan Reynolds had been working on getting this role since 2004. So in that decade, I have no idea. I'm not the IRS. I have no idea how much money he did or did not put into these things, how much money Tim Miller put into these things, because the two of them, they really, they Costnered it to make this come to life.
Well said. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, we are still in the fish tank. Next week on the show, looking at a review of Sing Sing, a movie I saw at the Chicago Critics Film Festival. Hopefully Matt will catch up with it. We'll have a review. And I think there's something else. We'll see. Might
Okay.
be a Netflix movie as well. But I think that's everything right now in the fish tank, so jump back in there.
You bet.
Matt, call it the Caitlin Clark effect. Interest in women's athletics is on the rise across the country, so it is the perfect time for Disney to give us Young Woman and the Sea. Daisy Ridley stars as Trudy Elderly, the first woman to swim across the English Channel. Last year, Jodie Foster and Annette Bening gave us Naiad, which mostly hit its mark. I fired up Disney Plus to see if Daisy Ridley could outpace Naiad with her latest flick.
I know you've thought about it. How far is it across? It's 21 miles across.
Currents changing every few hours. Freezing water. The hardest test in all of sport.
You think I could do it? Do you think I can?
Sometimes movies don't have to change the formula to succeed. Young Woman and the Sea is kind of a throwback in that sense. This is an old school sports movie that tells the true story of Trudy Elderly, who I was unfamiliar with going in. Set in the 1920s, we meet Trudy when she is a young girl and actually has the measles. The outlook for her does not look all that bright, but she is a fighter and overcomes the illness. She would go on to take that fighting attitude into the pool where she would train and eventually compete in the Olympics. Things don't go great for her in the Olympics, but that's due to women not getting the same amount of training time as their male counterparts. She eventually sets her sights on swimming across the English Channel, a feat at the time that had only been done by 5 men. Many doubted her, but one coach, Bill Burgess, sees something in her that others don't. We know how this is going to end. I doubt we would have a movie about her if she failed. That said, I was moved quite a bit by the story. It's very inspirational, and hot damn, it's been a minute since this country threw a good ticker tape parade for an athlete. We come to find out that this was, in fact, the largest attended parade in the United States for an athlete of all time. She inspired the nation, and I am glad I got to learn about her amazing story. The jury is still out on Daisy Ridley's acting ability. She was great as Rey in Star Wars universe, but I've not seen her do anything that good outside of that. I think this may be her best work to date. It's a safe role, but she elevates it for sure. She also has a great 1920s look to her. The movie itself has a fun style to it overall. Being on Disney Plus, I am recommending Young Woman and the Sea, so go ahead and dive in, Matt K.
Wow, what a great movie to follow up Deadpool and Wolverine with.
I know. Completely safe, family-oriented, you know.
Yeah, it's a real...
It is meta. Her name is
Cool.
Elderly, and it's called Young Woman in the Sea.
Yeah, that's true.
This is how we do it on CinemaJaw, though.
Sometimes we
have,
do.
We have movies for everybody.
All right, so let's dive in, Ryan. I'm curious if Daisy Ridley is even watchable.
She is. As I said, I think this is probably her best outside of the Star Wars universe. In Star Wars, it's different.
I
'cause it's
like her,
just-
actually.
I do too, as Rey, and I like her as well. I mean, she's been in that Chaos Walking, and I thought that was...
She did the Orient
I
Express.
liked her in
She
the
did Orient
Poirot
Express.
movie. Yeah.
But has she done anything that I would say, like, all right, she's going to have a nice big career after the Star Wars universe? I think the jury's still out. I would say this was a great role for her to take.
She's done better than Jake Lloyd.
Yes. Has done better than Jake Lloyd and Hayden Christensen.
And Hayden Christensen, yeah.
He had a little
She
thing,
didn't get
though.
Anakin'd.
No, but he also had a few movies after the Star Wars
They gave him a
flips.
try.
He was in that Jumper, and he was in something else.
I feel like she's getting more of a try because probably she's got a little bit more under the hood, talent-wise.
And so here I thought, perfect role for her. You know, it's not overly challenging. It's in her lane. And yes, she does look good in like that flapper style 1920s, You know, there's some actresses and actors that just fit period pieces better than others.
Yeah.
Keira Knightley, for instance. It's like she's in every period piece movie because she looks fantastic in those roles, you know? And I think Daisy Ridley has that type of look as well. So just fit the 1920s. At one point, they got to like modify her swimsuit. I don't know if she invented the bikini in the movie. It almost comes across that way, as they were gonna like cut the middle so that she could, like, you know,
less resistance.
Yeah, less resistance, and I don't know if how true that is. But again, just that old school look with the swimmer's cap, she pulls it off well.
Good. Was there a jaw-dropping moment in a movie like this in Naiad 2?
There really was, Matt. There's a jellyfish scene. You know how I've always been terrified of jellyfish since Nemo.
Oh, I thought you were going to say SpongeBob the movie.
No, Nemo predates it.
Okay. It does predate it, doesn't it?
It does.
Sure do.
Yeah. But yes, there is a scene where she is crossing the English Channel, and there's just no way around it. Just tons of jellyfish coming. And it's like, just go right through them. And sometimes you just got to have that.
Does she get stung?
Yeah, I mean, just go right through, and she just swims right through the jellyfish.
Good thing it's not a Portuguese man of war.
It was
Those
pretty
things
crazy.
will kill you.
The other great jaw-dropping moment was at the end of the swim, because it takes her so long to cross the English Channel. By the time she's getting to England, it's dark out, and the most dangerous part of the swim is the last 3 miles, because they get too.
That's where Eminem lives?
Right.
Oh, that's 8 Mile.
That's
Sorry.
8 Mile.
Yeah.
But it gets too shallow, basically, for the boat. So she's being tailed the whole time by a boat and coach and whatnot. But when you get closer to the shore, about 3 miles out, the boat can't swim next to her anymore or sail next to her. So she has to do that last 3, and that's still a long way to go, 3 miles. And now it's getting dark outside.
I couldn't swim 1 mile, man.
And she gets disoriented. She can't see exactly where she's going. Well, everybody was so into this and moved by her trying to go across the English Channel that people were out on the shorelines lighting huge bonfires on the coast so that they had see some light. And that's very, it's a moving moment. It's very cinematic. She starts to see the light and keeps going, I welled up with some emotion for sure.
You felt this one.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I really did. I enjoyed it.
Did you have a movie poster quote?
I do. Here we go. An uplifting splash in the water.
All right.
3 jaws.
3?
For Young Woman in the Sea.
Wow. You really like this.
It is. Especially for Disney Plus. I put it this way. Disney Plus, I was going to go streamer only for this. I was reading about it. And they actually threw it out in the theaters about a month ago. And they gave it like a 2-week window release. And a lot of people were saying when I was reading online, that's a little bit more like maybe for award qualifying, that it did play in theaters, so on and so forth. So I think they think it's a little bit something more than it is. People love a sports movie. And like I said, with women athletics on the rise, it just feels perfect for the moment.
You could have gone there. You could have said, like, jump in this stream, But anyway, interesting.
3 jaws for Young Woman in the Sea. Brings us to our last best worst, and it's swimming movies, which is sort of out there topic. I had a difficult time coming up with this. I'm going to be honest.
All right. Well, I'll kick us off then. Maybe I have superheroes on my mind, but this is a movie I saw recently, and it's just a total crapper, and I'm going with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Shame.
It is a shame.
I had fun with it.
It's a stinker. This is when Ryan started to shift into, like, what are you talking about, dude?
No, it was more because I was going in with such low expectations, So I was ready, prepared, like, all right, I'm going to see a ridiculous Aquaman movie.
You just love Amber Heard.
No, I really don't. And they almost cut her out of the movie, but...
Yeah, but they didn't.
I also have a recent pick for mine. It actually came out this year. Very seldom do I pick something of the same year, but I did, in fact, land on Night Swim, which was the haunted swimming pool movie, if you will, that came out earlier. I think it must have been like a February release here. And this is, this athlete who is retired early, former baseball player, has to do laps in the pool. So hence why they want the swimming pool in the back of the house. Turns out that it's from a natural spring, and that water is actually haunted coming up into the swimming pool. Wasn't a fan.
Digging deep there, weren't they?
Just stop swimming.
I know.
Like what?
Get out of the pool.
Like Dory says, just stop swimming.
Yeah.
Just stop swimming. But no. They just keep swimming. Listen to Dory too much. Night Swim was my pick for worst.
Let's go to our best. It's the only other place to go.
I went with also a recent one, 2022. Okay. Saw it in Toronto, was a Netflix movie. I pushed it hard, and it is entitled The Swimmers. And it tells the story of two Syrian sisters. This is based on a true story, who flee their war-torn home.
Oh, yeah.
And they end up swimming in the choppy Mediterranean Sea to escape into Greece. And then eventually actually competed in the Rio Olympics. What an inspirational story. And I mean, thrilling as all hell. I mean, it's part survival, how they're going to get out of the country, and then inspirational that now they don't have a country to call a home, and they're going to go ahead and still compete in the Olympics. It's absolutely awesome.
That was the prequel to Naiad.
Right?
Get a lot of
swimming movies
ladies
in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm telling you, we're due for a top 5 swimming movies full-on list. But for my best, I had to cheat. And I didn't go like full-on swimming, but it is a water park involved in this one. And I went with the way, way back. And I think what makes this movie most interesting is Steve Carell. Like, we did see him again in the DuPont movie. What was it called? Was it just called DuPont?
Foxcatcher.
Foxcatcher, thank you. But this was his first turn as a villain, and a lot less over-dramatized. It's very much Steve Carell being an asshole, and he was super believable, and it was a great performance all around. Sam Rockwell pops up as the hero of the story. It's a great, like, sort of coming-of-age teen angst movie.
He takes that kid under his wing.
Yeah. It's very relatable. Mm-hmm. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that was a good one. I've only seen it the one time. Very enjoyable.
Worth a respin. I think I've seen it only once, too. I might watch it again.
Nice pick, Matt.
Thanks.
If we missed a great swimming movie, throw some at us, because we might end up doing a top 5, so I could use the suggestions.
Splash us.
Email us, feedback@cinemajaw.com. In honor of Young Woman in the Sea, we are playing Sea movie trivia.
I see what you did there.
All of these movies have the word sea in the title.
Let's see how I do.
Question number 1 on Stump the Kubinski. You need 3 or more not to be stumped. Matt, Sam Jackson famously gets eaten by a shark in this 1999 film.
Deep Blue Sea.
That is correct. That's the easy one.
The funny thing is I was going in my head thinking, is it just called Deep Blue? And then I remembered the categories.
Question 2. Manchester by the Sea won Casey Affleck an Oscar. Which actress played his wife in the movie?
You jerk. I was like, Manchester by the Sea. Casey Affleck. Oh, Jesus Christ. Am I going to get this one?
You should have a shot at it. I don't think you've ever caught up with this movie, but it was a big awards contender.
Rachel Weisz.
We're looking for Michelle Williams. Michelle Williams. You are 1 for 2, Matt.
I knew it was somebody who was older than him.
Is she older than him?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't...
Throw it in a late fish tank. Michelle Williams versus Casey Affleck.
Maybe I'm just thinking of that because of the Spielberg movie she did.
She did seem older in that movie.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she's not.
No?
Casey Affleck is 48 and Michelle Williams is 43.
There you go.
Okay, younger.
Matt, question 3. This Hollywood star starred in 1954's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. He died 4 years ago at the age of 103. Who was it? Hollywood legend. This Hollywood legend starred in 1954's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. He died just 4 years ago at the age of 103.
Did he also have a career in the NRA? It's not Charlton Heston.
Is that your guess?
No.
Wait, is that a real fact? About Charlton Heston?
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, yeah.
He was the poster child. Yeah, it's kind of...
I wasn't alive then.
No, you were. This was recent.
In the late 90s, he was for sure.
Oh, man, 100 and... Was it Christopher Plummer?
We're looking for Kirk Douglas.
Kirk Douglas, wow.
Made it all the way to 103.
Good for him.
Yeah. You are 1 for 3. You need these last 2, Matt.
Okay, I can do it.
They really get tough, too. Sorry. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt made 2 movies together.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith and this 2015 dud. And we're playing C movie trivia.
Yeah. Holy shit, dude. It's not... I don't know. The Lady in the Sea.
We're looking for By the Sea. By the Sea.
Okay.
Matt is officially stumped this week.
It happens.
Yeah, every once in a while. Question 5 over to you, Matt. Name the 2002 movie in which a New York homicide detective, played by Robert De Niro, discovers the prime suspect in a murder case is his estranged son, played by James Franco.
James Franco was around in 2002?
Yes. 2002, De Niro and James Franco. And Franco plays his estranged son in the movie.
Old Man in the Sea.
Wow. That is incorrect. We were looking for City by the Sea.
City by the Sea. Boy, you know what? We got to do a Stump the Movie Guy. I'm getting tired of this shit.
The dude writes so much trivia, though. I don't think that's...
Oh, it's possible. He writes the hardest questions.
No, I mean, you know what happens? I picked C movies, and then about 3 down, I was like, God, there's no other good C movies. And then I was already locked in. I was like, these are going to be too tough for Matt, but screw it.
I mean, you could have made the Manchester by the Sea movie the Casey Affleck question.
Could have, should have. You were stumped. That's all. That's all, Matt. You blew it.
I'm the best there is at what I do.
Yeah.
What I do
See?
best.
Thanks, Wolverine. He knows.
That was supposed to be go fuck yourself.
Give him one more. It's the end of Hugh Jackman month.
Are you suggesting, madam, there exists a law compelling gentlemen to lay hold of canine bowel movements?
Gonna miss that one.
I am too. It's been fun.
Really not. It's super situational.
It is.
Tough one to use.
Yeah. But hey, we managed to pull it off one last time.
I mean, Tatanka's even more situational.
Yes.
We just got really irritated with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun celebrating Hugh Jackman this month.
It sure has.
Been a blast.
I'm the best there is at what
He
I do.
is.
What I do best isn't very nice.
He is.
As we blow out of here, first and foremost, we got to thank our producer, our editor, KP.
Of course, I would not want to be anywhere else, especially than in the lobby during the Spoiler Lounge review. It's not here right now, but that's where I was.
But you had so much fun checking out the skyline.
I did. That is actually true.
Also want to thank our Patreons. We did a Spoiler Lounge, so Patreons, go over there, listen to our Spoiler Lounge
Please
of
do.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
I'll get this up as fast as possible.
If you want to join us there, again, it's very simple. It's patreon.com/CinemaJaw, and it unlocks all of the extras that we've done prior to. So do it. Get involved.
It's fun.
Other way to support us is by leaving us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast, a star rating on any of those apps that you're listening to us on. That always helps. And follow us on all the social medias from YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
We're back, yeah.
We are CinemaJaw everywhere.
Yeah. Wall-to-wall CinemaJaw.
Very simple. Until next week, I'm Brian, the movie guy.
I'm Matt Kay, and keep on jawing about the movies.
Go fuck yourself.